He said, and that's why I'm so cheap.
Okay.
So it's your recommendation that we award to Mannequin Smith for $48.86?
It is my recommendation.
Actually, I think should be a not to exceed deal here.
Right.
Yes.
I think it's not to exceed 10 grand too.
No. You do
Oh, I'm
that two
sorry.
separate motions there.
Yeah, that's the next one.
Sorry.
How they with the change orders and stuff.
There's no change orders with this.
It's just a study.
It's a study.
Can I also ask David how often we're required to do this study?
Nick, do you know? 5 years.
5 years.
Not yet.
I'll make a motion to name Mannequin Smith Group the contractor for the 2018 water reliability study at a cost not to exceed $4,886.
I support.
Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion?
It was moved by trustee Scott, supported by trustee Burdine, to award the 2018 water reliability study to Mannequin Smith Group not to exceed an amount of $4,886. Trustee Slee,
Yes.
trustee Burdine,
Yes.
trustee McClellan,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Scott,
Yes.
president Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion is carried.
Next, we have an agreement for professional services for the industrial pretreatment program. Nick?
The treatment plant is, on its way. It's getting all of its new equipment in there, the new membranes, or filters, you could call them. And Mannequin Smith brought it to our attention. They're the operators of that's the company that operates the wastewater treatment plant. They brought it to our attention that we really need to have a program that looks at or addresses what comes into the sewer before it gets to the treatment plant. Because when somebody dumps something in there that's not supposed to be there, and it wreaks havoc on your system, you're already there. So it's typical to back up a step and address the problem with who might cause the problems, such as things like fat oils or grease being put in the drain, or companies dumping chemicals, or industrial debris being released, which make their way through the pipes and down into the system into our brand new expensive place. So they, being the operators and being concerned with that, they brought to our attention that we don't have an industrial pretreatment program and wanted to offer their services to get that done. Do you have this sheet in front of you that lists all the stuff that they do? Okay, so they outlined on there the typical tasks that they would do, like create a letter to send to all the businesses, pamphlets, attend some meetings, basically set up a system that the village then continues on after they're done getting it established. And this involves having a plumbing inspector go out and check to make sure on a recurring basis that restaurants are actually putting their grease into their grease trap instead of dumping it down the drain. This involves me meeting with some of the businesses as well. Lots of data entering and mailings back and forth. Getting that system set up, which then I would maintain after that. Also discussing with the manager on a weekly basis how the system is progressing. So they've offered their services for a fee not to exceed $10,000. Alternatively, you could throw it out to bid and take bids on a similar service. But one way or another, we really do need to have this system in place, protecting. This is a very cheap compared to.
Has there been a problem down there?
We have a lot of fat oils and grease, tons of it. And yes, there are certain levels of different chemicals. They get this sheet that lists it, and some of them are too much. I can't remember which ones they are off the top of my head. So they they really need to find out where that's coming from, because those affect your wastewater permit that lets you dump stuff into the river.
Okay.
So it's,
And a big piece of this also is educating the public on what they can and cannot,
It-
which a lot of people may not know.
exactly, and that's all the way from residential, like people dumping bacon grease down their drain or their turkey fryer down the toilet or something.
What about baby wipes or something?
And baby wipes is a big part of it too. That would be the debris part of it. And, you know, factories and stuff that just kind of flush rags and stuff down the drain. I'm like, come on guys, those have to go somewhere.
And when, just a little comment for myself, when Nick brought this to me, and, you know, like he said, we can put this out to bid, but we talk to Dave Riegel about this all the time, about wipes, about grease. I told you about on outer drives, when we cut that pipe going over to Burger King, it was clogged full of grease. I personally, I talked with Nick a long time about this, and I personally don't want to work with somebody else besides Dave Riegel and Manikin Smith, who know this
That's
plant
our goals.
in and out. So that's why I chose to come ask Nick to present it to you. If you want to bid it out, we certainly will do that, but it would be my recommendation to let Manikin Smith do it, since they're the plant operators, and then I can work with Dave Riegel.
I think that's a good idea too, because they know exactly what the main problem is
They
down
do,
there,
and
what's
they're
coming in.
They're very good to work with too.
I mean, we wouldn't want to get engineering firm XYZ out of Lorraine, Ohio, doesn't even know our plan, and then we can't work with the.
There's got to be some sort of conflict there, to have Manikin Smith operating our sewage treatment plant, and have somebody else come in and do the engineering on it, doesn't make any sense.
I wouldn't want to do that.
I mean,
Sure
they're
doesn't.
operating it or they're not operating it, you know what I mean?
Okay, so is there a motion to accept this agreement for professional services for the industrial pre-treatment program with Manikin Smith not to exceed $10,000?
I couldn't have put it any better myself, so I'll make that motion.
Any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
It's moved by trustee Salee and supported by trustee McClendon to approve the professional services for the industrial pre-treatment program agreement with Manikin Smith in an amount not to exceed $10,000. Trustee Renine,
Yes.
trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Scott,
Yes.
trustee Salee,
Yes.
President Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Next, we have a payment of the bills and the, thank you very much, Nick. Next, we have a payment of bills in the amount of $224,372.42. Is there a motion to pay the bills?
I make a motion that we pay the bills of $224,372.42.
Moved and supported. Is there any other discussion?
Yes, I didn't hear one.
Call the roll, please.
It was moved by trustee Burdine, supported by trustee McClendon to approve payment of bills in the amount of $224,372.42. Trustee McClendon,
Yes.
trustee Polito,
Yes.
trustee Scott,
Yes.
trustee Salee,
Yes.
trustee Burdine,
Yes.
President Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Next, we have autographs again. Is there a motion from someone?
Yeah, yes, who? I would actually like to make a motion with an exception that we add to the request to use the old mill for free or reduced rate for autographs event in March of 2019 to add that it would benefit our local no-kill animal shelter.
You can't leave it open. It's got to be
What amount?
either a dollar amount or to waive the fee entirely. You can't say either or. It's got to be specific.
Why don't you make it a
Well, let's make it to waive the fee.
Okay.
But in order to meet our, okay, after making that motion, you got that in there so I can start talking about it now?
What happened?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, in order to meet our own rules and regulations, it has to benefit a local shelter. We don't have an option of allowing the money to be donated anywhere. It has to be donated to something that would benefit our community, as we all know, because we actually passed that as our rules and regulations for doing things on charity, so that's why I add that to it. That's the only thing I have to say about it.
Was there support on that?
I'll support that.
Okay, moved and supported?
A little bit
That's
out
okay.
there.
I just have a question. Do we have a set cleaning fee for that building? I mean, if we're always giving it away and it's not getting cleaned or people aren't paying for it, then it's dilapidated.
That's under Scott's jurisdiction.
So is Scott willing to clean up after other
It
groups?
He has all this stuff. It's part of, he sort of feels like it's part of his service over there, because normally people, they provide food, he has all that to sell. He does that at his fee.
Okay. The one thing I always worry about is, over time, are we gonna be giving it away to the point where it hurts us?
He manages the solution, he takes care of
And I think if Andrea was here, she would once again bring up that we need some specific
Little
guidelines on
policy
that.
or something.
Yeah. At some point, we need to visit that. Okay, any other discussion or questions? Call roll, please.
it. It was moved by trustee Slee, supported by trustee Burdine, to waive the rental fee of the Old Mill Banquet Hall for the holographic event in March 2019. Trustee McClendon?
Yes.
Trustee Polito?
Yes.
Trustee Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Slee?
Yes.
Trustee Burdine?
Yes.
President Gutierrez?
Yes.
Excuse me, I left out the portion of it about which I will put in there about the post the
Local shelter, please, yes.
I'm sorry, I
thank you,
forgot to
thank
write that in there. I will insert that into the motion.
Okay, other business? None. Village manager comments?
Thank you, ma'am. Start up.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Oh, okay.
If there was one below, was the, for the permission for the Tie Michigan Teal campaign to support ovarian cancer.
That was part of the consent agenda.
Okay, I know we talked about one item that was going off.
Okay,
Thank you, sorry.
Oh, you're all right. I'll start out, we have Gary Lizette with the township. Did you have anything?
No, sir, not tonight, thank you.
Thank you, Scott. How about your fire truck? Getting close, isn't it?
They sent us some pictures. It's, we should have it in 2 to 3 weeks.
That's gonna be great. Maybe you could,
Gorgeous.
maybe you could get the fire chief to bring it over here before one of our meetings and
We'll take it for a ride up and
everybody climb up the ladder to the top of the building.
Is it red or white? Is it red or white?
What
The
do you
fire
think?
truck?
What do you think?
I think it's white.
Very good.
Blue and white.
Matches all the other ones.
Very good.
Mr. Hoffman, did you have anything, sir?
Yeah, I just wanted to say there'll be some new signs on the river. Of course, I dropped them off at the township this morning on the River Raising Watershed. It's kind of interesting, real quick. I know Farm Bureau being real active with the river and the algae and the phosphates. Our river out here, we have improved it since all this has started by about 38%, which is big. And we're doing all this voluntarily. And, you know, our whole area out here is so much ag, so the farmers are working hard to do their share. And I know there's an article in the paper tonight about Ohio, where they're being reprimanded by the government, almost by their state government, pushing them and setting regulations in order. They can understand up here how we're being so much further ahead on doing it on our own, you know, which is really good. So you'll see some signs out here. I gave some to the village this morning.
What do they say?
It says the River Raising Watershed is a partner. It's just showing we're working
Support.
together to do our part. And it makes us look good as a community all the way down, all the way through Lenawee County out into Jackson, whole rivershed, which is good. So that's about it.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I want to, in case anybody didn't see this video, I don't have all the particulars, but I know it's inching on 600 100,000 views. It's gone viral, it's been on 2 TV stations. It's been seen all across the country. So in case anybody didn't see it, I'm going to show it to you. Uh-oh, Nick.
What happened? What'd you
Your
do?
toe broke the machine.
What'd you do?
Buffering, buffering, buffering.
I gotta reload. Just minimize the screen and then take it back to full screen, maybe that'll fix it. Yeah.
Yeah, something.
I'm glad somebody told me something went wrong.
Wrong, there you go. Hit that. Press F5 on the keyboard up at the top. All right, now hit it and then hit that, the arrows point toward the out. Not now. Not now, Facebook.
Really?
I believe it'll go away. Now the arrows at the bottom right of the black bar. Go up, up, there we go.
We here in the village of Dundee would like to thank the community for this event, and we would like to now challenge you, Dale Greenley, Chief of Police Field Meeting, and Chief Roy Johnson of the Carlton Police Department.
It was a lot of fun, and thanks to the police department, Randy Sale, thanks to Jordan Reeves, that he did all the filming and the editing and putting everything together. And what was the lady's name that did the choreography? Yep. So everybody had a great time. Like I said, it's just gone ballistic all over the country, so pretty neat.
Good job.
Everybody did a good job. The median is done at Cabela's. If you haven't seen it, take a look at it. I think it looks really well. Assisted living, we talked with them today. Maybe tomorrow they'll break ground. For sure this week. They assured us today for sure this week, but they're thinking maybe tomorrow. Or at least moving the equipment in. Rockin' the Raisin was our concert with Grape Smugglers and Temperance Tonic. Was the band. We had taco truck down there. The River's Edge Pizza sold hot dogs and pizza. I think everybody had a great time. We had a good turnout. I think we came up with probably between 350 and 400 people were there. Intermittent showers here and there, and I know it poured at the end, but it was a great time, I think, by all. We've heard nothing but positive. Even the businesses already said, we want to participate next year, so please get a hold of us. So we are making those plans to maybe have 2 next year, in July and August maybe. The maintenance of the streets you're going to see a guy in here on a little scooter spray painting lines this weekend. And that will be getting done, and then on Monday the crews will be moving in to start doing maintenance on the streets. Believe we finished the light poles today, and if we didn't, there might be 1 or 2 left to do, but I think they got done today because they're picking up the man lift tomorrow. So the last thing I want to talk to you about, and I'm just going to give you a heads up that I'm going to bring this to you, and I'm not sure in the next 2 meetings or so. It's called a resolution for fire insurance withholding program. The township has this into place, and what kind of brought this to light is the fire on Outer Drive. And what it is insurance companies are required, when there's a fire of a business or home, they're required to get on a website to see if a municipality is registered for this program. And they have to pay you up to $12,500 as a bond to assure the municipality that the cleanup is going to take place, so they don't. I know the township, I think, is still sitting on a place that hasn't been cleaned up in quite some time, I think, out in the township. But it's so that you can go in and use that money to make sure everything's cleaned up afterwards, that they just let it sit.
Who provides the bond?
The insurance company pays us a bond. They have to pay this bond up front, and it's up to $12,500. So the insurance company will sit down with you and tell you, okay, there's $10,000 worth of damage. So
The
they're not gonna,
individual's insurance company, not the village's?
yes,
Okay,
the individual insurance company. So then you could get $10,000. So that's what you negotiate with them. So I have the resolution all made up, and we're probably in the next couple council sessions, I'll bring that to you, so you'll know what I'm coming with. That's all I have, thank you.
Okay, next we have council member comments. Mike?
Yeah, I've got a couple things to come off with so far here. First of all, I'd just like to, Robin left already. I was going to say thanks to her also for, back in July, Mrs. McDonald had approached me on Strawberry Street about a telephone pole that was broke since our tornado. And so I contacted DTE and I contacted Robin, and Robin made sure that the correct forms got filled, and this past weekend, the pole was put in within 3 weeks afterwards. So I'd just like to say it takes a village, and if we all work together, we can get things done. Second thing was, they also asked me at the same time, DTE did, if I had any other inquiries, and I said yes. There was an inquiry already made about a light on South and M50 and M50 and Mechanic, and they are looking into that as well. We might end up getting a street light on both of those, at least maybe on South and M50. The next thing was I had a request about someone wanting to know about the ADA approved compliance with the way the chairs and tables are in front of Lyle's, getting across back and forth. Is that in compliance to where there's a wheelchair room, crutches, because of the way the chairs and tables are? It was asked of me to check into that, so said I would do that. Let's see, and also does the liquor license cover outside drinking? So, then another thing, I can talk to Dave and Gary about that, that's getting some more, something I already talked to Dave about was getting trees and bushes and shrubs cleaned back from the signs for the street signs and speed limit signs and so forth. And another resident wanted to know about the thoroughways through or easements through the telephone pole wires that go not up and down the streets, but through the neighborhood yards. Who's responsible to cut them back? And I said I would also check into that. The other two projects I've been working on is, and Gary Dahl is not here, but I was going to tell him thank you also. I took pictures of Taco Bell, sent them to Gary. Gary sent them to Taco Bell, and they agreed for us to go ahead and do the project, take care of the exit right there in Taco Bell where you come out, and it's got the big crater there. They're going to take care of that, and we bill them, and it's all set for this. I believe, Nick, is it supposed to be this season, correct?
Yeah, they say they're coming this week.
Okay.
They're gonna start fixing the sidewalks this week.
So that's on this project
Yep,
also?
there's a ticket in for that particular piece, yes.
Yes, that's what I thought, thank you. And, the Perky Pantry. I know everybody's tired of going around that barrel and around that barrel. I'm looking into that, see what I can get done. Right now, I'm getting the basketball thrown from one court to another. So as soon as we can all get together on that, we'll all figure that out for you too. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Mike.
Yes,
For
sir.
helping out on the DTE stuff, because I made 7 calls too, and I know coming from different directions, that really made a difference on M50 in South and M50 in Mechanic, and Mrs. McDonald over there on Strawberry Street. Appreciate that. Also, I'm not against ovarian cancer or anything. I would like to just clear that. I want to make sure that when I voted no on the Pumpkin Palooza in that parking lot, that we may talk about this later, but definitely give permission for the Teal campaign for ovarian cancer. And one more thing, is it on the agenda to get hole 19 done sometime, maybe September, Dave?
Same as when you asked me yesterday, we're waiting for a permit.
Okay, wait for a permit. When we brought this up in February, March, that's what my point is.
Okay, is there anything else? Shirley?
I just wanted to tell everyone that the fishing derby, first annual one that they had over at the old mill this weekend, I haven't got the final count. The last thing I knew, we had 147 children that participated. That was unbelievable. We had expected that this first one, we'd probably maybe have, maybe 50 people, 50 kids show up. It was free for the kids, and it was unbelievable. We had kids and parents all over the river, and they just had a ball. We've had phone calls since then from the parents asking us to make sure we do it again next year, because they said it was a wonderful event for their kids. It was a great day. We had children's games and activities down in the park. We had an antique tractor and engine show down there at the same time. It was just a wonderful event, and we're going to do it again next year. And we want to thank Jason Miller from Great Lakes Tower. He sponsored the event for us, and he paid for everything. The kids got t-shirts, trophies. They just had a ball. And I want to thank the public for coming and helping support us. It was a wonderful event for the kids.
Good deal. Denny?
I just, again, as a member of DDA, I want to thank Dave Yule for putting in so much work on Rockin' the Raisin. And I want to thank President Penny, Councilman McClendon, Chief Tim, and Robin Moon for supporting such a great event. It was great to see you all out there. Thank you.
Annette?
That's it for me.
Paul?
Planning Commission did not meet this month due to lack of agenda items. I was just gonna comment on the old mill thing and say that, you know, essentially, I think if it's possible, at some time, I think we should sit down and look at a defined policy so it's easier for the customer. We'll know in advance of, they don't necessarily have to come to a meeting and ask. If we have guidelines laid out, then they can just be approved per the recommendation of the village manager. That's my 2 cents on that. I want to thank Ms. Moore, was it, for coming out to talk about, you know, her concerns with parking around here. I can say that I know that one of the main reasons we closed down Ipsy Street was to make it more walking friendly. Parking is always going to be a concern that we look to the future to make sure we have, but as of right now, there's not much we can do. In the same lines, I want to thank the DDA for Rockin' on the Raisin. I unfortunately had a wedding that night, but I heard great things from many people about it. And then last, I just had to say I drove by the fire station when they were doing the lip sync recording, and I had no idea what was going on. So I'm glad to get to the bottom of that. That's all. Thought you were all insane for a minute.
I thought I was too, it was hot.
No, that doesn't take that away.
Well, you can,
They are.
you can imagine when I saw John handcuffed, what that looked like from my tobacco store. I was like, wow.
Mike?
Well, I just have something very simple. A lot of times, you guys will hear someone up here say, my constituents. I want you all to know that you're all our neighbors and family. You're not constituents. So, I mean, it's a way of saying that people told us something, but they're not like my constituents. They're our neighbors and family. So you don't have to pick a council member and adopt them. It doesn't work that way. So you can talk to any of us. We'll all help you out. So just making that clear, okay? Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Did you have anything else?
No. Good.
I just want to say I went to Rockin' on the River. It was a blast. And I even danced. I couldn't move for 2 days after, but I did dance. I also want to say that anybody up here, like the stuff that you have, feel free to come up and talk to Dave. Like if you have a question about somebody's liquor license or if there's room for the wheelchair or whatever, that's what we pay him big bucks for. Come up here and talk to him or pick up the phone and call him. I mean, you know, when he needs, you know, he'll be responsive. You don't have to wait for the council meeting to.
I got something about the liquor license. Since Threshers is closed, do we have liquor license in our area now, or?
When a facility closes, it goes into escrow.
That's through the
We have
state.
nothing to do with it.
Oh.
Somebody can buy it out of escrow.
How about the beer and wine license? How does that work?
Yeah, Gary Evans, yeah. They haven't taken it away from, you know, I don't want to discuss Mr. Evans' business in a public meeting, but there is none available in the village of Dundee.
How about a beer and wine license? Is there any available in the village?
They can apply for beer and wine.
Any word on that pharmacy when they're opening? Could
And I
please
just
define
read the sign, it
soon?
says.
Opening soon?
Soon. They were stocking the shelves. I think Nick and I were walking around town a couple weeks ago. They were stocking shelves and they're still got the door closed. I don't